Good morning. I've come into the woods today on the hunt for some mushrooms. We've had a lot of rain lately and the temperatures are still really warm, and so I'm hoping that the conditions are right to maybe find some mushrooms and learn more about them. Now, I don't pretend to know everything there is to know about mushrooms. In fact, I'm very much an amateur when it comes to foraging and looking for mushrooms. But I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night. No, I'm just playing. But I did get this book, Mushrooms of the Southeast. This is by Todd Elliott and Steven Stevenson. I have read the introduction and I've read all of the chapters. I've finished the book basically. Although this looks like a thick book, but most of it is just the field guide part, which is not so much reading material as it is you would use that in the field to help identify some mushrooms. So again, this is going to be me learning and searching, and I'm just going to show you that process so you can be a part of it. So let's get to it. Let's see if we can find some mushrooms. Well, I found my first type of mushroom here. They're growing on the side of this dead tree, kind of a tree stump that's left here. You can see it's well rotted. And in my field guide, the best, closest thing that I can find is in the polypores and relative sections, what's called turkey tail. The coloration is a little different, but the general idea of a kind of a woody mushroom structure, a little bit leathery with dark kind of coloration there in the center and light around the edges. These up here must be probably younger and don't have that coloration, but the ones down at the bottom are probably older and are starting to get that turkey tail coloration. Again, that's my best guess based on the field guide and what I can see. So feel free at any time to comment below if I misidentify a mushroom, which is very likely because, again, I am an amateur and this is really I just bought the field guide like 2 days ago. So I'm very much an amateur. I know I'm gonna make mistakes. If you're a mushroom lover and you know more about them than me, feel free to comment below. Okay guys, here's my second mushroom, and honestly, I feel lucky to have seen it. It is incredibly small here on the forest floor. Just for reference, like here's my thumb. So it's not even the length of my thumb. Very small, white, kind of a gilled mushroom. So it has gills underneath. I'm looking around now and I do actually see more of them. There's one, a very tiny one right there. That's the smallest one I've seen. And then just through here, there's a few more there among the leaf litter. This is really difficult to identify. I've been looking in the book and I kind of have it narrowed down to 2, but I think, and if I had to put money on it, I think I know which one I would choose. So at first I was thinking that it might be this fragile Leucocoprinus. I know I butchered it. The only other one that I think it could be is this one here, this white Marasmiellus. It is a decomposer of wood, and this one is growing off of just a piece of like bark, or it is an old piece of wood, and I really don't want to break it. If at all possible, I'm really trying not to disturb it. You can kind of see the gills underneath. I'm just gonna have to pull this one up, so forgive me. You can see the gills underneath. Oh, that's a good picture there. The gills underneath, kind of ridged. The ridges look really similar to this one, although I don't see that dark stem, although they say that at first the stem is white, but becoming shiny brown black from the base upward with age. It may be that it's a young fungus and it doesn't have this dark stem yet. So this is going to be my final answer. Okay, this is just like 2 feet away from the little guy I just showed you here. I noticed some more mushrooms growing off of this dead, decomposing piece of wood here. I was able to kind of much more easily identify it, especially by the one that they have turned over here from the picture. These look very similar, and the description, at first convex but becoming centrally depressed or saucer shaped to vase shaped with age, gray, brown, pale yellow. Everything seems to line up for these. And so this is the guild mushroom. This is a gray Geronima. Guys, I'm gonna be honest. This may sound really nerdy, but I'm having a blast out here looking for mushrooms. Well, first, it's amazing how many there are and how easy it is to miss them because so many of them are tiny. I want to show you this spot I just came across. This little guy first caught my eye, and so I stopped, and I'm going to take a look at him here in a minute in the field guide, but look what's right next to it. Here's a stick with some more of like what I'm probably just going to go ahead and say is similar to that turkey tail. But here, you know, I spotted this one because of the color. Then I looked up and I saw this one. And then as I was down kind of taking a knee, I happened to look over here and look right through the grass right there. Isn't that amazing? This vibrant orangey red color caught my eye. So then I sat up. I'm down here taking a knee. I sat up and then I looked, and you may not be able to spot it from the video, but look right there, and I'll zoom in. Look at that. There's another one just popping up right there. Something else is kind of catching my eye right in there, that orangey color. I mean, guys, the truth is I could probably spend 30 minutes just in this one spot. And actually now, I just saw another one. Back towards this mushroom I zoomed in on. Let me zoom in on another spot. Look right there in the center of the screen. There's another one growing out of a stick. So, truth is, I may not have enough time in the day to identify all the mushrooms I could find out here, but I'm gonna sit here for probably 10 or so minutes and see if I can identify the ones that I just showed you. Okay, I think I'm ready to try to make an identification on this little guy here. I feel pretty certain about this identification. The red color really gives a lot away, but so does some of the gill structures, the stalk. It's probably the more confident match that I think I've had. This is false Caesar's mushroom. You know, bell-shaped to convex, becomes flat with age, orange, red, sometimes covered with warts. I don't see many of those right now. I'm gonna call that one identified, false Caesar's mushroom. So I've been looking for quite a few minutes here on this guy, and this may surprise you, but I'm just gonna say that I can't identify it. I can't find it in the field guide. And it may surprise you because it's such a wonderfully vibrant color. And you would think that with that coloration, I could, you know, easily find a picture of that. But the truth is that the estimated fungal diversity is actually somewhere around 5.1 million, which makes it very difficult to identify in the field. So if you happen to know what type of mushroom it is, I would love to hear it. Just comment below. I really didn't want to disturb a lot of the fungi out here, but I really needed to see the underside. If you take a look at this gill structure here, you see something a lot closer to what you would see on I guess a typical gilled mushroom, with these really flat gills that are very closely grouped together, these slits. Another identifier, the cup-shaped top, although it could be that as this matures, it could become more flat. I don't know. I'm not sure if you're able to see around the edges. It's kind of pleated at the top, like around the edges of the diameter here of the cap. Well, guys, I hate to say it, but I think I'm stumped again. I'm having trouble identifying this one. Okay, I just came upon one here, which I think I have quickly identified. I think earlier I had considered this white marasmilus as a possible identification for an earlier mushroom. I feel virtually 100% sure that that's what I'm looking at here. The dead giveaway for me is this brown stalk, which I'm going to try to get close, which you can clearly see there. Really thin cap with ridges, and so I feel like this is a confident identification of white marasmilis. Found my next mushroom, and I'm pretty excited about this one, mostly because this is probably the first mushroom that I have found that is possibly an edible. Now, I do not plan on eating any of these today. This is really kind of a reconnaissance mission. I'm learning here. Eventually, I would like to be able to eat these and forage them someday, but I don't feel comfortable at this moment doing that. So this is really more for learning, but I feel like I have got this one narrowed down to a couple of possibilities. My first possibility is this cinnabar red chanterelle. It has a smooth surface, bright red to reddish orange, central depression, gills that are ridge-like, excuse the plane, that are ridge-like, that run down into the stalk some. The other possibility is here on this next page, which the color matches this a little better. Both are chanterelles. This is flame-colored chanterelle. So I don't know that I can confidently say, I mean, I think the color match is maybe this flame-colored chanterelle. Come across another one here, really small guy, maybe about the size of, you know, maybe the size of my thumb. This has a really thin, woody stalk, as opposed to a lot of mushrooms that would break in your hand. This one is really more of a woody stalk. Kind of this umbrella-shaped top. The you know, gills are ridged, but very small. My closest mushroom that I can find in the field guide is the orange pinwheel marasmius. Really small. The stalk is really similar to what I've got going on here, although I don't really have a lot of orange color in this. It does say whitish to palish yellow, then becoming brown to blackish brown with age. So this could just be a more mature pinwheel marasmius. And there's quite a few. There's another very small one, and then as I look to my left, you can see quite a few in here popping up. So I think all of these are fairly mature. There's a really nice one, maybe a little younger. That one doesn't look as brownish as the others. Okay, I've come across one that's been pretty easy to identify, especially because of the gills. This is this meadow mushroom, or otherwise known as pink bottom. The cap, at first white, then becoming more light brown. There's our picture. This one does have some serrated edges. I think that's just over time that's kind of occurred. Becoming chocolate brown with age. Stalk is white. Annulus is white. There is the remnants. This had a really short stalk. There's the remnants there of the annulus. Chocolate brown in mass with the gills. So I feel really comfortable identifying this. Interesting here, this is a choice edible widely collected for human consumption. So it does say care should be taken not to confuse with this other poisonous species of Amanita, which have light colored gills and a vulva at the base of the stalk. This one clearly does not have light colored gills, and this was a short stalk. I did not see a vulva at the base. Oh my dudes, I am so excited to find this mushroom. This is, oh man, this is like the best mushroom I have found out here yet today. This is beautiful. Look at this thing. It's just relative size. It's like the size of my hand. I mean, it's growing out of this old log. It's awesome. And I found a positive 100% match for it here in the book. I mean, look at this. You just could not ask for a better picture to match. This is the shaggy stalked bolete. Surface is smooth, wet weather slimy, dry weather kind of sticky reddish orange. I mean, you've got these kind of veins running up and down the stem. the cool thing about these is that they looked like a gilled mushroom, right? Like a gilled mushroom has a cap on the top of stem and it has gills underneath. But, and I really don't want to break this one, but I want to show you the underneath is there are no gills. It's tiny, tiny tubes that contain the spores. And that makes them, actually puts them in a different family than the gilled mushrooms. But, wow, what a beautiful mushroom. I mean, I know it sounds nerdy and geeky to say that, but I mean, it's really, that's a fantastic specimen of a mushroom. So excited to see it. All right, I'm gonna call this one a video. I hope you've enjoyed being out here with me and coming along. I know it's been a little different. This has really been me more learning instead of me trying to tell you a skill that I know. So I hope you've enjoyed kind of a different style of video. If any of you are interested in mushroom hunting or looking or foraging, the two biggest suggestions I can give you just from what I've learned today in the 2 hours that I've been out here is to walk slowly and make sure to look down at your feet. I'm kind of more of a hiker, and so I kind of hike at a quicker pace, and there's just so many small mushrooms and variations that are found on the ground that I would have passed had I not been looking straight down and moving slower. So I hope you've enjoyed this. Subscribe for more content, and we'll see you on the next one.